Yes, so Hairless here. Today we're back with another Patreon request. Thank you to John for this one. This is Nightwish with their song Storytime, and this performance is also from Wacken Festival in 2013. It's my second time hearing Nightwish. My first time was Everdream. I thought that was really cool. Please do check that out if you haven't already. The card for that will be up here. There were so many comments on that video letting me know about metal and its many subgenres, about Nightwish's history, about Flauro's history, about metal culture in general. Just far too many things to go over here. So thank you to everyone who commented on that video. I did read every single comment. Yes, I am a metal noob, and it makes this all the more interesting to me because I have no expectations, or rather I don't know what to expect. So I want to keep this intro quite short and just get straight into it. But just a couple of things before we start. I received many requests for Ghost Love Score. Yes, I do plan on getting round to that as one of my next Nightwish reactions. This song, Storytime, I'm told this came directly after Everdream in the set, so there's a kind of natural progression there, which is quite cool. And I did look up the lyrics. They're on the screen now if you want to pause and read through them. They are very poetic, just like Everdream, and without any music right now, it is quite strange to read them. They have intrigued me greatly. So without further ado, let's get straight into it.
I think it's time for a little story. It's definitely story time.
Well, that's taken a turn. That's quite dark. That's already 1 minute 40 seconds. Wow. All right, we're going to get back to that in a bit. Some very interesting things musically in what we've heard so far. So I think let's go back over and discuss it. If you saw my previous Nightwish video, you'll know this is where we go over and analyze. If you don't want to hear my analysis, go to the timestamp. Straight back to the opening. It's so atmospheric, so many emotions it's conjuring up. I don't know what I was expecting to hear, as I said in the introduction.
It's definitely story time.
That opening chord.
It's definitely
That's something like this, which is harmonically ambiguous at best. These are the kind of main notes that we see. Don't worry if you don't play the piano or know about music theory. We have the note F at the bottom, so we're kind of hinting at F minor. If we group all these notes close together, this kind of rich discordant chord. We crescendo through this chord. Flour is whispering as well, so it's suspenseful. And then we get these rhythmic driving string chords. They're repeated at equal rhythms.
It's definitely story time.
No doubt this is Tuomas, the keyboard player, doing this. Yeah, as we can see here. Actually, a little difficult to see his left hand. We can definitely see his right hand, which is playing this glockenspiel type sounding melody. The atmosphere, darkness, flashing lights. It is atmospheric, and to be honest, I find it kind of creepy. Not creepy, a little bit eerie, but that's because I'm sat here by myself watching it. It's definitely atmospheric. I can only imagine what the atmosphere is like, you know, being there live. Musically too though, those lower string sounds, we get these chromatic inflections in them. So we hear this. which is peculiar, at least from a harmonic perspective, as in from the perspective of having secure harmonies underpinning the music. It is quite unsettling to hear this. And then if we add in the right hand movement at this point as well, cue Sir Hairless from the future to just show you on the piano. If we played it diatonically, meaning using the notes of the scale of the key we're in, this is how we'd expect the melody to sound. And also the rhythms, this one little piano riff he's doing with his right hand. It's so important for contributing to this unsettling nature of the music. Sorry for using the word unsettling, but objectively it is unsettling from a rhythmic point of view, because it throws us off from the scent of any kind of time signature or meter. Let me quickly write up the piano part. Here we are. So the red notes, they are the accented notes. Notice how he always falls down onto them, exaggerated them. And we have 4 beats in a bar here. Wait, be right back. Let me add in some lines here. So we have 4 beats in a bar or measure, indicated by the blue lines. 1, 2, 3, 4. The normal thing to do is to stress the first and the third beats, indicated by the thicker blue lines. But here, the stress is on these red lines, which are beats 2.5, 4.5, 2.5 again, and then 4. It's irregular. It's clever. Blimey, I've said all of this and the song has just started. I need to chill a bit. So to move on, we then have a very clever build-up, considering everything I just said, but now we have the beat and the bass come in, and the bass is playing a repeated static note until it then does this descending run downwards. And then things get a bit heavier. I love the headbanging from Flouro. This is much heavier than the headbanging I saw in Everdream, which I think I referred to as elegant. I don't want to go through every single example that we hear, but the main atmospheric tool, at least in my opinion, is the use of chromatic inflections. I mentioned them earlier, but I don't think I actually said what they are. In case anyone doesn't know, chromatic notes are notes that just move to the next note. If you skip any note, that's not chromatic. So this, or this, or this, are all examples of chromaticism or chromatic inflections. In this song, they're absolutely everywhere. We saw them earlier, as I said, and they're continuing to be used throughout in the lower parts. But even in Flauro's melody, in just the first couple of lines, you know, we get this, and this. And because of this use of all the chromatics, when we get to this bit I'm about to play, is it the chorus? It sounds like a chorus to me. There are no chromatics. Each consecutive note is always at least 2 notes from the previous one. And even that final interval, a major sixth, one of my favourite intervals. And I really like the chord progression of the chorus as well. Without getting into too much detail, we essentially go round this thing called the circle of fifths. What this is a chart, and without getting into too much detail, essentially, if you play the chords around it in order, they will sound nice. So this chorus is essentially moving around the circle of fifths. Here are the chords that we hear. So we go F minor, A flat, E flat, and then instead of B flat, it's the minor version. So that allows us to repeat this kind of mini circle within the circle. Yeah, it's a very melodic chorus. I really like the melody, and I just think it's constructed very well. This is my second time hearing Nightwish. We're not even halfway through. It seems like there's just a lot going on musically with their songs. So yeah, I'm very intrigued about the rest of their music. Right, we got to the darker moment just afterwards, kind of similar to how things were at the start of the song. So let's carry on. Yeah, take all the breathers you need. You've earned it. Wow. Let's do our second pause here, go over what we've just heard, and then carry on. So from where we carried on last time, there was this kind of a darker emotional turn. We hear these kind of filthy, gritty chords. Well, they might sound it, but they're actually not. They're very standard, but why they sound dark is because of the context, their musical context. In simple form, this is what we hear. And if I play these notes, it sounds like it's outlining this chord. But that's just those notes alone. When you whack them into this song, the choice of instruments, the choice of their location, the choice of everything else going around the aesthetic, with that right-hand glockenspiel sounding motif going on, their feeling is completely transformed. If this is your first time watching one of my videos, and if you continue to watch my videos, then you'll hear me say this a lot. Musical context is everything. Alright, so this bit to metal fans might not seem heavy at all. But as someone who knows next to nothing about metal music, I find this quite dark. I imagine it the perfect music for some kind of chaotic dystopian scene from Mad Max or something. We then got this image of this guy in the crowd. What's on his shirt? Imaginarium. Right, so I received a comment on my Everdream video saying that there's a film called Imaginarium that Thomas, the keyboard player, wrote the score for and was part of the screenplay too. And I received a lot of comments saying that that's the name of an album by Nightwish as well. It's funny because she sings this word just before. But that's Imaginarium versus Imaginarum. I wonder if they're completely separate things or not. And I didn't mention this with the start, but the opening also reminded me of some weird kind of carnival, dark carnival, and there we go. Kind of looks like the entrance to a carnival or a fair or something. Imaginarum. Alright, so the security. I find this so funny. Security are receiving their gift or their package. A crowd surfer. Teamwork makes the dream work, huh? At this point, we get a nice addition in the form of backing vocals. They add an element of, I don't know, urgency to the music, just an extra bit of oomph. Also, now we have passing chords implemented. So whereas before, where we just passed from F minor to A flat, which would be, now they've decided to place a chord in between very, very quickly. So now we go. We can really hear that in the bass part. The reason for this is just to make things a bit bigger. The transition between two chords a little bit smoother, a bit more natural sounding. All right, let's continue. Okay, it's just surprise after surprise. Again, just a few things to go over before we carry on to the end. I think there's about a minute left. If I go back to where we carried on from, the vocals that are introduced. They are now very exposed. So we've gone from no backing vocals to backing vocals amidst this huge kind of thick mass of textural layers to now a reduced texture with the vocals being a very prominent feature. There's something very moving about this scene, at least I think. And it's difficult to hear exactly, but to me it sounds like those backing vocals are a purer sound than before. But maybe that's just because now they're much clearer and easier to hear. We have no heavy guitar or bass to interfere with the sound. Let me just play them from before again. Maybe they are the same, but because of everything else they sound a bit more, well, less pure. In my previous video, my first ever time hearing Nightwish, I was asking about audience participation, clapping, that kind of thing, and it's cool to see. We have a nice little interlude. We do have a beat coming from Yuka, is it, on the drums? He's going off with that percussion, but the claps really serve a purpose now. The crowd has fully become part of the song at this point. And then just after that, the sound then becomes epic, is the word that comes to mind. Wow. She is loving life. I imagine an epic film soundtrack, something like that. You know, we hear the brass instruments sounding, it's just power. And then, of course, this. Wow. Very choral in style, more operatic, which naturally makes the lyrics a bit more difficult to understand. In my previous video, I was saying how I was surprised with how well Flouro enunciates everything. I think I again said it was quite elegant the way she was singing. Here, just completely different style, but similar at the same time. Also, is this a nod to Everdream? Notice the similarities. Alright, let's carry on to the end. It's not working, but proper goosebumps at the end here. Wow. And the Nightwish army seems to be so international. Just there they showed clips of a couple of flags we had. Norway. Here this looks like the Venezuela flag to me. In my previous video I pointed out the Mexican flag. Yeah, very cool. Well, I don't have too much to say about the last section. It's the chorus, and I really like the chorus. Towards the end, it seemed like it's this kind of amalgamation of everything. This feeling of closure to close up the song. The backing choral vocals, they really add so much to the musical texture. And Flouro joins them with her own vocalization, vowel sounds, in a more modern style. She's belting in her chest voice. If you said to someone on the street who knows nothing about metal music, such as myself, and you say, picture guys with long hair, doing devil horns, to an extremely melodious and quite beautiful voice of a woman singing they'd say, no, those two things don't work together. But they do. And I love how she sustains this note as the harmonic progression continues, so as the chord changes underneath. And she sings with a straight tone until the chord changes, and then that's when her vibrato starts to kick in, so her voice wobbles. And her range as well. No, that's an F up here. It doesn't sound that high because she's singing it in a blended voice, so much power. A blended voice being a mix of her chest voice, her full voice, and her head voice. For example, if I'm to sing up there in my head voice, much weaker sound. I thought this was a very cool song. A great mix of everything. Darker bits, more melodic bits. If you just showed me short snippets of each of them and said put them together, I'd think, oh, that'd probably be quite difficult. Nightwish, they've done it easily and seamlessly. Yeah, very, very cool. Look, let's leave that there. I'm still coming to terms with the whole metal scene. I imagine there's so much out there. So comment down below other songs by Nightwish you'd like me to do reactions to in the future. Thank you again for this request, and as always, thanks to everyone for watching. Would appreciate a like and subscribe. If you enjoy my content, want to support me, join the community and vote on future polls, you can do so by joining the YouTube membership or Patreon link below, and I will see you next time.